already used to looking at them from afar as well. So that's one of the biggest parts of our job, is making sure that we are able to tell the difference between all of them, first off, but also that we know all of their personal preferences and their individual history too. If anyone has any medical concerns we need to know about, that kind of thing. We also want to make sure that we're catering all the care we give to each of them in particular. So like for instance, since Keclad is a little bit more of a laid-back gorilla, I'm not necessarily going to put him in a situation where he's going to be spending all of his time with his younger, more boisterous brothers. We want to give him a chance to have some peace and quiet if he wants to. So we give him the opportunity, like right now, to eat his fruit once his younger brothers are done, so that he can eat it in peace and quiet. We do descendants of Willie B here at the zoo. In fact, these three boys are descendants of Ozzy. He's our geriatric male gorilla. He lives over in Gorilla Habitat 2 next door. Ozzy's the oldest male gorilla in the world. He's 57 years old. So he lives here at the zoo. Yeah. And so these three boys are the offspring of Ozzy, but we do have several descendants of Willie B. And in fact, Willie B's only son is over in Gorilla Habitat 4. So if you follow this pathway down toward the reptile house, you will see that habitat. He lives in another bachelor group. He's the one with the really big head, so I guess that's the best way to put it. But yeah, Willie B has 3 daughters that live here at the zoo as well. They live within our gorilla family group, so he has a huge legacy.
How often do they breed? Or what's their normal breeding pattern?
So typically that's going to depend on the females that they live with. Males that live in a bachelor group don't breed for obvious reasons. In a family group though, the silverback that lives in that group will breed depending on receptiveness of the females. So typically the females are usually open to breeding every 5 or so years. Yeah, they have a pretty long infant development period because those kids need a lot of attention. So the mothers are on full-time mom duty, teaching them everything they need to know.
No, he's watching another one.
Yeah, so I went to school in Minnesota. I had a bachelor's of science in biology. And after that, I did a number of animal care internships. So I got to know exactly the skills needed to work as a keeper. There are a lot of things involved. There's a really interesting intersection of physical labor, scientific background, understanding of psychology, actual practical knowledge, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on in this job, and a lot of it comes down to understanding animal behavior. That's one of the main things that we do every day, is understanding and correctly interpreting animal behavior. So we want to make sure that what we're seeing from our animals are what we're expecting, but we're also wanting to make sure that any communication that they can offer to us, we're interpreting correctly so we can provide them the best care that they can possibly receive. So that's a big part of my job. Like I said, I've worked here for about 3.5 years. I work with both ape species. I work with gorillas and orangutans. So that's kind of my specialty. But yeah, a lot of it has been a lot of internships. There's been a lot of college study, all that kind of stuff. So it's a long road, but it's a very rewarding one. You really do get to have a very hands-on impact with animal conservation, which is a great opportunity, and you get to work with some of the most amazing animals in the world. So it's very cool, very unique opportunity. And not only that, I get to share it with all of you. So yeah.
Do any of them like do sign language or like any kind of motions to you for like what
Sure. So that's a question we get a lot. So gorillas do not know sign language. In fact, no ape species do. They have to be taught that sort of thing. It's not just something they inherently know.
Yeah.
While it is physically able to teach them, for them, what they're going to defer to is the language that they know, which is gorilla. So they're going to defer to things like the body posturing, like I talked about a little bit earlier. They use different vocalizations, which you can hear on our loudspeakers. They use facial expressions. All of that for a gorilla is how they naturally communicate with one another. So our job isn't necessarily to teach them something new. It's to be able to correctly interpret what they tell us. So it's completely on them, and it's essentially the way that I put it is we do the legwork in understanding them so that all they have to do is just be gorillas, and that's it. We just provide for everything else. So yeah, I know there have been several famous apes that know sign language, but if you kind of think of it this way, if you're given the opportunity between a made-up language that you don't know or something that you naturally know, you're probably going to go with something you naturally know because it's easier, it makes more sense to you, that kind of thing. So that's a big part of our job as well, is just understanding and correctly interpreting the communication that they do. It's a great gorilla chest beat from Petco over there.
And got up on his head.
What's that?
It's a gorilla chest beat. It's a form of dominance display. So he's trying to let Charlie know that he's going to pass by, and Charlie needs to just let him be.
Is it true they like to kidnap blondes?
No, unfortunately, no.
And
We
put them on
never-
the top of buildings now?
No, we never put that to the test either. We always work with animals in protected contact. So there's always a physical barrier between us and them, just in the off chance that that's
Look,
the
there's
case.
one really far away in the distance.
For anyone that's joining us over here, we just finished up a gorilla feeding and keeper talk, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. If you're joining us for Gorilla Habitat 3, I apologize there's no feeding over there today, but I am happy to answer any questions here.
What's the noise?
Over here.
What is that noise?
Gorilla vocalizations are coming out of our loudspeaker here, so you can get an idea of what they sound like. Yeah.
Do
Yes.
they climb trees?
Not necessarily. So gorillas are more of a ground-dwelling animal. They spend most of their time foraging and moving around on the ground. Orangutans are going to be the ones that are more arboreal, so you'll see them higher up in the trees. In fact, all of our habitats in the zoo, regardless of species, are designed to be able to, for them to be able to interact with them in a way that's natural for them. So our orangutan habitats have much more arboreal opportunities, whereas our gorilla habitats are more based on the ground. Great question. Yeah. I know, I love them too. They're my favorite animal.
Me too, buddy.
He said I love gorillas. It's actually to keep them from pulling the bark off of it. What we found was because these trees are so big, and because they live here in Atlanta where it's really, really hot, we want to make sure they have plenty of shade and cool areas in the summer. Since those trees provide them with that shade, if they pull the bark off, it'll actually kill the tree. So we would lose that tree, we would lose that shade, and we like to be able to give them naturalistic shade whenever possible. So that's why that exists. It's a great question.
I guess the habitat's really big, huh? It goes like all
It
the way
wraps all the way
around.
back that way. Yep, you got it.
So if that one, the dominant male, comes over
They
here,
already kind of walked.
he doesn't want anybody else to get in his territory. Is that the way?
Actually, the male that was up here is our least dominant. The other two were fed earlier during the talk, and he was coming in afterwards once his younger brothers left. So when he was leaving, he was just letting his younger brother know that he was kind of done, and he was heading off on his own way. Didn't really want him to mess with him, that kind of thing.
Ah, wow.
Yeah, so take your hands like this, and you open them, and then you rapidly beat them against your chest. You're going to make sort of a popping sound, and that's exactly what the gorillas do. And actually, they're doing it back there. I think a common misconception is that you use a fist, but if you're doing a fist against your chest, it's not really going to make any sound, right? It needs to be an open cup palm, and that hitting their chest is going to make that loud pop sound. And that's a huge part of their display because it's really, really loud and it's really impressive. So that's how they do that. They rapidly beat it against their chest, and that's the whole thing. Yeah, you have to practice your gorilla chest beat when you go home.
They attract females?
Not necessarily. It's mainly just to communicate with the males that they're dominant in that regard. Pretty much. Yeah.
Are they coming back here?
They're going to mill around and do what they want to do. They might come back, they might head back toward the building. It just kind of depends, yeah.
That night, do they got a garage or a...
We have our gorilla holding area. It's our behind-the-scenes area where they can hang out inside. So it's a climate-controlled building. They have their own bedrooms where they can sleep at night. And it just gives them a chance to hang out where it's, they're not outside in the elements. That we know exactly where they are. We can make sure that they get all of their extra food for the day so they're not going hungry in any regard. They can give them their enrichment. We can do training with them, that kind of thing. So it's a way for us to get a much closer view at all of them, but also make sure that they are secure while the zoo is closed overnight.
They automatically go in their old room, they know
Takes
their
a
own
lot of
room.
practice, but yeah, they do the same thing every day. So they've gotten very, very good at understanding where we want. Yeah, go ahead.
Is this little area like? Do they go down here ever?
They can. So on their side, they can enter. It's called a dry moat. But on this side, the side closest to us, it's a flat wall. So they can't physically climb it, but they can get back in from their side if they choose to. But the way that we do that is just to make sure that we have a secure habitat for their security as well as all of our guests that come to visit them. But also on their side, we want to make sure that if they do go down in there, they can get back into their yard. Yeah.
What goes through there? Water?
Nope, it's dry. Just under. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's so slippery when they come racing down there.
I know.
They never fall in.
No, and even if they do, they can get right back out. These guys are pretty
That would
sturdy.
hurt though, wouldn't it? They fell in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're hiding.
Yeah.
Oh.
For anyone joining us just now, we did finish up a gorilla feeding and keeper talk at 1:45. If you're joining us from Gorilla Habitat 3, I apologize, there's no feeding there today. That family is in our behind the scenes area. But I am happy to any questions that you have here at Habitat 1.
Oh my god. So what do they eat? They see stuff on the ground. Is it usually bugs that are in their mouths?
It's different parts of their diet. So we scatter their diet throughout their yard to promote natural foraging. But they also like to eat different leaves, grasses that naturally grow in their yard, that kind of thing. So they are herbivores. They eat fruits, vegetables, leaves, and greens every day. And so foraging is one of the most time-consuming activities that any primate does. They can spend upwards of 90% of their day foraging. So that's one of the things that our gorillas do most often.
Wow.
Yeah.